Billy and Jack engage in a decisive battle over Kane. The events that transpired on The Young and the Restless. On The Young and the Restless, Courtney hopes Sally went to see Joshua Morrow's Nick in a party dress. At the Abbott mansion, Jack hugged Diane, who was frustrated that she couldn't help Kyle, who had gone upstairs. Then, Jack received a text from Billy telling him the part was on hold. Jack was livid over the text not telling him the whole story. He decided to get some answers. At Society, Billy pointed out that AI is a lethal weapon. Phyllis hastened to clarify that Billy meant lethal in a financial way, not in a creepy, horror film way. Billy asked how it would work. Kane said Billy would get that info once he got his answer about Billy pledging loyalty. Sally portrayed Billy's proposal negatively. Sally was told by Phyllis that she was in too much trouble. Sally said that she and Billy, unlike Phyllis, were not desperate for a win. Sally wanted details. She turned to Billy and noted this was all a big con. Billy stated that he required additional information, but he believed that Kane would reveal everything. Sally made the remark that Billy could simply cancel sharing his information, similar to how he cancelled the Abbott communications party. Sally left to do damage control. Billy followed. Kane was told by Phyllis that he was trusting the wrong people. She said Billy can't run with the ball on this. He'll fumble. Phyllis asked Kane why he was playing things so privately. She told Kane that she dreamed big. Kane was also informed by Phyllis that Billy would be persuaded not to do anything for Kane by Sally. Phyllis asked if Kane was setting Billy up. Kane said Jill would put a hit on him if he tried that. Phyllis didn't care if Billy had been used as a scapegoat by Kane. Kane stated that he would not discuss anything else with her. He went on to say that Phyllis could, if she wanted to, tell him to go to hell. Phyllis told Kane she wasn't afraid of him. He was just weird, she said. Kane said he wanted Phyllis's hands to stay clean because they're a team. He asked her if she knew how rare it was to find someone you could respect. Kane called her smart and fearless. Do you really think I'm strange? Billy inquired. He shouldn't do that again until he knew how to do it right, Phyllis said, noting that that wasn't even funny. He said he'd take note of her suggestion and asked her to sit down. Kane assured Phyllis that he trusted her, but that she wasn't going to Chancellor Industries. At Crimson Lights, Sharon asked Nick how he was doing. Nick said he'd love to tell her everything, but she doesn't need to be dragged into more family drama. Sharon encouraged Nick to spill his guts to her. Nick took Sharon into his confidence. He told her about Kane and his desire to take things to the next level. Nick said that Kane has a software program that can infiltrate a company's system and take control of its finances. By the time you realize it, it's too late, Nick said. That really can't exist, can it? Sharon asked. Nick assured her Victor thought it was possible. Nick said Victor would use blackmail to stop Kane. Sharon mused, naturally. Nick shared that Colin used fraud to get the money to start up Arabesque. Nick thought Victor would use the program to go after Jabot. Nick wondered what was up with Kane and all the greed. Sharon should stay away from Kane, Nick advised, as Phyllis was already being sucked in. Sharon pointed out that Phyllis is savvy and didn't need his help. Nick feared that Phyllis could face prison time. Nick was praised by Sharon for being Phyllis' friend. Nick said if Phyllis is following Kane through a minefield, he had to stop her. Sharon wondered if Cassidy would be the first target for Kane. Nick said he wouldn't let anyone go after Chancellor Industries, his mother's company. Nick said even Phyllis won't be safe from him if Kane goes after Chancellor. Sharon noted Nick's numerous thoughts. The subject shifted to their kids. Sharon said Noah was possibly coming back to America as he was meeting with a developer for a new club in Los Angeles. Nick was impressed. Sharon said Noah was happy but was cautious. Nick inquired if Noah was returning to Genoa City. Sharon said she didn't want to press him for details. Nick decided that they should go to LA to see him. Sharon agreed. Nick told Sharon the launch party for Abbott Communications was put on hold, and that the line at the burger barn might be long if people who were expecting food didn't get any. Nick said he was going to drop by Society to see what was going on. Sharon said she'd go with him. At home with Billy, Sally was livid that Kane let the press know that the party was off. She had the impression that she would be the one to pay the price. Billy said maybe Kane's idea wasn't insane. Sally couldn't believe Billy bought Kane's pitch. Billy said they need to get more information. They would never find out the truth, Sally said. Sally observed that Kane is a menace, and he'll keep stringing them along. Billy wondered if this was all real. Maybe he could take Victor down. Sally pointed out that Victor was blackmailing Kane and that Kane wanted Billy to fight Victor. Sally pointed out that what Victor might do would be illegal on a grand scale. Billy said Phyllis said that the AI cleaned up after itself. Sally mocked taking anything Phyllis said seriously. Billy said this could all help him get Chancellor Industries back. Sally accused Kane of using her and Billy. Just then, Jack entered. "What the hell is going on, Billy?" Jack was curious. He was furious that he didn't get a warning about the launch being cancelled. Billy said it was postponed. Jack wanted to know why. Billy said they have a better way to launch. Jack stated that they appear foolish. He quickly figured out that Billy and Sally may not have cancelled the party, as they were dressed for it. Jack stated that Billy was once more evading him. "Jack, why would I lie to you?" Billy barked. As Billy continued to lie to Jack, Sally interjected and said that she and Billy were just as surprised that the launch was cancelled. She revealed that Kane cancelled the party. Jack wanted to know why and how. Billy said they just need time to figure out the next move. Sally gave Billy an ultimatum. He had until tomorrow morning to decide or else she's gone, both professionally and personally. Sally walked out. Billy told Jack he needed time. Jack said if Billy can't tell him what had happened, then they had to rethink their business. Billy blasted Jack and dared him to pull the funding. Jack said he wanted all the funding back and that Abbott Communications would have to change its name. Billy pointed out that it was his name, too. Jack blasted that it was their father's name. Jack wondered why Billy even wanted to create Abbott Communications. He accused Billy of making Chancellor Industries his latest fix. Billy told Jack that he was pissed because he gave him what he wanted. "I want my money," Jack said. He suggested he call the company Ashby Communications. Jack told his brother he was on his own. Sally returned to society to talk to Billy and Phyllis. Phyllis tried to convince Sally that she and Kane knew Billy better than she did. She pointed out that Billy wouldn't listen to her, and Sally would realize that she wasn't the one keeping her on track. Phyllis said Billy was going to do what he had to do, or Sally would have to walk away. She said the sooner Sally realized that, the sooner she could move on with her life. Sally vowed to make sure that Billy wouldn't be a part of Kane's plan. Kane told Sally that Billy needed a win. Did she really want to take that away from him? Yes, according to Sally, if it meant keeping Billy out of jail. Next, Sally showed up at Crimson Lights. She told Nick that Kane was behind the party being cancelled. She asked Nick how they could stop him. Sally said to Nick that Billy was about to go off the rails. Sally wondered how she could stop Billy from being Billy. Nick finished. Sharon asked Sally if she could get her something before they headed out. Sally said this was her issue to work out. Nick chimed in and said it was their issue. Jack returned home and told Diane about Kane cancelling the party. He said Billy thinks that Kane is going to help him get everything. Jack said that Billy told him to pull his funding if he wanted. Diane didn't want to be right about Billy pulling this move, as Jack didn't invest in a company but rather in his brother, whom he loved. Billy is flying on his own without a net. Let's see how he likes that, Jack mused. Later, Jack insisted that Kane had to go before he destroyed everyone they cared about. Diane agreed. Nick and Sharon arrived at Society to see Phyllis and Kane at the bar having a drink. Sharon suggested they make a hasty retreat to the burger barn. Kane told Phyllis that nothing and no one was going to stop them. Meanwhile, Billy had a flashback to him saying that Victor would pay for what he did to him over Chancellor Industries. He also recalled an intimate moment with Sally. Back to the present, Billy called out to Sally, but she wasn't there. Sally sat alone on a bench at Chancellor Park. Next, Billy had a flashback to talking to Phyllis about Kane wanting to help them reacquire Chancellor Industries. Then, he recalled Jack telling him that Victor's victories over him weren't enough to measure his life. Jack added that Billy was throwing his common sense right out the window. To return to the present, Billy promised to pursue Victor. Jack Abbott and Billy Abbott have always shared a complicated bond as brothers, one rooted in fierce loyalty but also marred by rivalry, resentment, and betrayals that have built up over decades. When Kane Ashby suddenly becomes the unexpected wedge between them, it sets off a chain reaction that pulls the Abbott family into chaos. Jack has long prided himself on being the more rational of the two, the steady hand guiding Jabbo and the family legacy, while Billy has worn the badge of the restless younger brother, often too impulsive for his own good. But this time the stakes are different, and their war isn't about business, romance, or childhood scars. It's about Kane, the man both brothers see as pivotal in determining their own futures. Jack sees Kane as a potential ally, someone whose pragmatic outlook and savvy business skills could stabilize an otherwise volatile situation in Genoa City's corporate world. Billy, however, views Kane with suspicion and outright hostility, convinced that Kane's loyalties shift with the wind and that anyone placing trust in him is setting themselves up for betrayal. What begins as a simple disagreement escalates into a brutal confrontation where long-buried grievances resurface, and the brothers once again find themselves battling not just over strategy, but over respect, legacy, and the scars of their shared past. The blowout battle erupts during a late-night confrontation at the Abbott mansion, after Jack invites Kane over to discuss a potential business partnership that could give Jabbo a competitive edge. Billy arrives at the meeting already bruised from personal disappointments and simmering animosities. His anger boils over as he accuses Jack of being blind to Kane's manipulations. Billy believes Jack is about to give him the keys to Jabbo's future, and he insists that Kane is not just another businessman trying to make a name for himself in Genoa City. Instead, he is someone who thrives on taking advantage of weaknesses. Jack fires back that Billy is letting his emotions cloud his judgment once again, that he cannot separate personal grudges from business decisions. The argument escalates quickly, voices rising, each brother throwing sharp words like knives designed to cut deep. Billy hurls accusations about Jack always needing to be the one in control, always needing to prove he's smarter, steadier, better than everyone else. Jack, usually composed, loses his cool and lashes out, telling Billy that he's tired of cleaning up his younger brother's messes, tired of watching Billy sabotage opportunities because of his reckless temper. Kane, caught in the middle, tries to interject, insisting he's not here to divide them, but the brothers are too far gone to hear him. The fight becomes more than just about Kane, it's a boiling over of decades of tension. Billy says that Jack is hypocritical because he pretends to be a good leader while making his fair share of bad decisions, like ending relationships or making bad decisions about leadership. Jack fires back by reminding Billy of his gambling, his affairs, and his inability to commit to anything long enough to truly build something lasting. What cuts deepest, however, is when Billy accuses Jack of always underestimating him, of treating him like the perpetual screw-up. Jack doesn't deny it. In fact, his silence speaks volumes, confirming to Billy that his worst fears about how his brother views him are true. This realization pushes Billy into a fury, and for a moment, it looks like the brothers might come to physical blows. Kane steps in between them to tell them to stop before they cause damage that can't be fixed, but his presence only makes Billy more enraged. He accuses Kane of enjoying the spectacle, of knowing exactly how to drive a wedge between them, and of secretly wanting to take advantage of the Abbott family dysfunction for his own gain. What makes the blowout battle so intense is that it doesn't just end with words exchanged in the heat of anger, it reverberates across their lives and relationships. Jill, always protective of Billy, gets wind of the fight and takes her son's side, warning Jack that trusting Kane is a mistake. Meanwhile, Tracy, the eternal peacemaker, tries desperately to get her brothers to reconcile, but even she struggles to mend wounds that seem to run too deep this time. The Abbott family finds itself fractured once more, with Kane unwillingly becoming the symbol of their latest war. Jack believes in giving Kane a chance, arguing that redemption and second chances are core values the Abbott family should stand for, while Billy sees it as another dangerous gamble, one that will end in heartbreak and ruin. Their inability to find common ground creates ripple effects that shake the very foundation of Jabbo, leaving employees, allies, and even rivals wondering whether the Abbott brothers' war will destroy everything their father built. As the dust settles from their explosive confrontation, the consequences become clear. Billy makes a drastic move that has the potential to upend everything because he is unwilling to watch Jack align with Kane. He begins plotting his own counter-strategy, determined to prove Jack wrong, even if it means going head-to-head with him in the boardroom. On the other hand, Jack puts even more of his trust in Kane because he is convinced that his instincts are correct and Billy is too distracted by his own emotions to see the bigger picture. When Kane realizes that no matter what he does, he runs the risk of being viewed as either Billy's foe or Jack's pawn, he becomes conflicted. The tension builds to a fever pitch, leaving fans of Genoa City wondering not just who will come out on top, but whether the Abbott brothers' relationship can survive yet another devastating fracture. The decisive conflict over Kane is ultimately about identity, family, and the long-lasting effects of sibling rivalry, not just a man or a business deal. The conflict between Jack and Billy over Kane becomes a metaphor for every disagreement they've ever had, every wound that never fully healed, and every fight they've had. It's raw, it's ugly, and it's deeply personal, reminding everyone watching that sometimes the fiercest battles aren't fought in boardrooms or over love affairs, but within the walls of family homes, where love and hate exist side by side. The question is whether Jack and Billy will ever truly be able to get over this, or if Kane will be remembered for starting a war between two brothers who may never be able to get along again.